Welcome to another episode of Untold Legends, where we explore the stories found within the world's video games, movies, comic books, and anything in between. Today, we're going back into the nightmare scenario of the Raccoon City outbreak, one of the Resident Evil series' most tragic events. Once the T-virus created by the evil Umbrella Corporation leaked into the city, all hope was lost.
UBCS Team 4, report.
Man, we're seeing a lot of RPD and civilian activity in the downtown area.
Team 5 reporting. Gunfire near the hospital.
Understood. Move to contain.
Ma'am, please calm down. What is the nature of the emergency? Get in the windows. Please help us. Ma'am?
The line is breached. We can't hold them off.
They're overwhelmed. Containment failed. We need extraction.
The civilian population became an army of the undead. Umbrella tested its horrific monsters on the survivors, and Raccoon City was ultimately destroyed, at the cost of about 100,000 innocent lives. Before the destruction of the city, their involvement during the outbreak was deeper than anybody could imagine. Unknown to the general public, Umbrella was a corporation with deep pockets and its own private mercenary forces. This video will focus on those soldiers and their activities. Umbrella's Biohazard Countermeasure Service, some of the unsung heroes fighting to rescue civilians in the chaos of Raccoon City, and some of the very human monsters embedded within it. Let's start by answering the questions. What is the UBCS, and who is it comprised of? Since Umbrella's founding, their public face displayed a company involved in legitimate legal industries, but behind closed doors, their work was much more nefarious. Involved in developing bioweapons, viruses that could decimate the world, and creatures that could hunt down survivors. It was only a matter of time before an accident would occur that Umbrella would have to respond to. In the early 1990s, after the Soviet Union collapsed, the Umbrella Corporation took advantage of the situation and approached unemployed soldiers to expand its military force. One such soldier, Sergei Vladimir, found purpose within the company, was given the title of Captain of the Guard, and became one of its most loyal enforcers. Sergei founded the Umbrella Biohazard Countermeasure Service and recruited into its ranks men that were almost always war criminals or mercenaries from around the world. Many joined as an alternative to capital punishment. The UBCS received specialized training in rescue operations during potential biohazard outbreaks, and learned strategies to counter Umbrella's own bioweapons, and their skills would be tested in the year 1998, when the T-virus infected the population of Raccoon City. The streets were in a panic, the Raccoon police were overrun, and it quickly became clear that the outbreak could not be contained. On September 26, 1998, UBCS troops were dropped into Raccoon City and separated into 4 platoons and several individual teams, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta platoons, and about 120 soldiers performed various missions throughout the city. By this time, the city had suffered 2 days of rioting, and the infected had surged to tens of thousands. On the surface, the UBCS was ordered to rescue and evacuate civilians, Umbrella's attempt at playing hero, but the truth behind their actions were unknown to most of their own men. The soldiers of the UBCS were simply expendable assets, and the civilians of Raccoon City weren't Umbrella's concern. Raccoon City was a hotbed for Umbrella's secret experiments, laboratories, bribes with city officials to keep their secrets, evidence that could incriminate the company was everywhere, and certain individuals given the rank of monitors within the UBCS were given the true mission of destroying evidence. These monitors would go to great lengths to protect Umbrella, even directly sacrificing their own men, and were also given the responsibility of collecting data on the bioweapons unleashed in the city. Its destruction was an opportunity for Umbrella to see the monsters it created in a live combat situation. Both civilians and UBCS troops were fair targets to the bioweapons, and the UBCS monitors were promised high monetary rewards, multiplied by the data they collected. One of the UBCS's most notorious monitors was Nikolai, a Soviet army veteran and close friend of Sergei. Nikolai worked meticulously, murdering the other monitors and stealing their data to increase his reward further. While his men worked to save civilians, he focused on watching Umbrella's Nemesis T-type bioweapon hunt down members of the Raccoon City Police STARS team. Doctors in the Raccoon General Hospital were actively working on treatments to cure the T-virus and develop a vaccine, medical advancements that Umbrella could not allow. Nikolai rigged the hospital for detonation and destroyed the entire structure. In another part of the city, a doctor called Dr. Greg Mueller worked at Raccoon University and secretly partnered with Umbrella on their Tyrant projects. He helped create the deadly Tyrant Thanatos, also released during the outbreak. As leverage against the company, Dr. Mueller developed a successful vaccine known as Daylight. Nikolai was ordered to destroy the entire building with all the research inside and assassinated the doctor successfully.
Farewell.
A UBCS Bravo team was sent in to capture or destroy Thanatos to avoid it falling in the hands of any rival companies seeking to steal Umbrella assets. Without hesitation, the monster annihilated the soldiers attacking it, and Nikolai took the opportunity to collect a blood sample.
Hey, something's wrong.
So, let's regain our distance then.
What the?
Impressive. I won't underestimate it next time.
Ultimately, a group of civilian survivors were able to destroy Thanatos, but by then Nikolai's mission was already a success. He had the combat data he needed. Before Raccoon City's destruction, Nikolai faced one of STAR's last remaining officers, Jill Valentine, but he successfully escaped the city with his life and reported his findings to Umbrella, with a huge reward in return. While Nikolai was working towards his own benefit, the UBCS troops in the front lines were the ones paying the price. One such soldier, Murphy Seeker, served as a sniper for Alpha Platoon Squad A. He had previous experience as a marksman in the United States Marine Corps and served during the Gulf War. Shortly after returning home from the war, a gang murdered his brothers, and he used his incredible skills to avenge him. With his hunting rifle, he gunned down 20 of the gang members. He was arrested and convicted to life imprisonment, but Umbrella bought his freedom and service, and he found himself inside Raccoon City. He can also be seen in the opening cutscene of Resident Evil 3 throwing a grenade into a group of zombies. Tragically, Murphy was severely wounded and infected during the attack. Depending on the way events unfold, Murphy's found infected by his close friend Carlos and begs for death, or he's ruthlessly executed by Nikolai.
No! Don't make me do this, Murphy. I don't want to shoot you. Kill me!
I finished. Not human.
Wait, we don't have to do this.
Please hurry. Before I lose conscious. Before too late. Kill me! Yeah!
Murphy. Why? No. Wait!
What did you do?
I had no choice. He was about to turn into a zombie. It would have been a threat, so I eliminated it.
But he was still conscious, wasn't he?
He was as good as dead. And it took fewer bullets to kill him now than it would have if he had transformed.
Another UBCS soldier Carlos encounters during his time in Raccoon City is Terrell Patrick, of Bravo Platoon Squad A. Terrell's background involved him supplying weapons illegally on the black market. Some of those weapons were used in a genocidal campaign, and they were traced back to him. He was arrested and given a life sentence, and just like Murphy, he was enlisted by Umbrella and was given the role of Monitor to collect additional information. As a Monitor, Terrell was aware of Raccoon General Hospital's T-virus treatment research. He made his way there to collect the research, but was attacked by Nikolai, his fellow Monitor that wanted the credit for destroying the research. Depending on in-game events, Terrell is either shot by Nikolai or activates one of his booby traps.
Don't shoot! No! Nikolai? You're still alive?
You saw what happened?
What's going on?
I'm one of the supervisors. That's all you need to know.
Wait!
had no idea another guinea pig was still alive.
What are you doing? Have you lost your mind?
Sometimes it's easy to forget one's loyalties. Just like that traitor.
You mean the guy who shot you?
Yeah, you know him. The one with the gray hair and the ugly mug. I can't believe he had the guts to shoot me. That traitor!
You mean Nikolai?
Carlos Oliveira was one of the very few UBCS members that escaped Raccoon City alive, a soldier from Delta Platoon's Alpha Squad and a heavy weapons specialist. In South America, he was a member of guerrilla forces fighting against their government. Eventually, his organization was wiped out and he was jailed, but Umbrella secured his freedom. He was raised among violence and was quick to jump into danger. During the Raccoon City outbreak, he met Jill Valentine and ultimately partnered with her to survive the chaos, fighting alongside her against Nemesis every step of the way. Without his help, Jill surely would have perished, especially after being infected. Carlos was able to successfully travel to the hospital before Nikolai destroyed it and used the treatment found there to cure her. While working to escape the city, Carlos and Jill encountered Mikhail Victor, leader of the UBCS Delta Platoon. Unlike Nikolai, Mikhail had no idea of Umbrella's true motivations. Delta Platoon's mission was to ring the bell in St. Michael's clock tower as a signal for a helicopter to come and evacuate civilians, but it was undergoing maintenance at the time of the outbreak and didn't work, a fact that Umbrella was likely aware of. As a result, survivors were trapped inside the clock tower fending off the hordes of undead coming down on them. None escaped with their lives. Mikhail felt great shame and regret that he couldn't save his men, and at some point was severely injured. He was taken to Raccoon Central Street Station where Raccoon SWAT was attempting to keep the infected at bay. They failed, and Mikhail spent the next 2 days stuck in a tram with Carlos and Nikolai. Carlos and Nikolai watched over Mikhail as his condition became worse. He continuously went into shock, believing he was back in the battle. Even with an injury, he fought back as much as he could.
Don't come any closer!
Mikhail, do you have some kind of death wish?
My people, they were wiped out by these monsters. I can't stop just because I'm wounded.
And Mikhail eventually perished as a hero. When Jill and Carlos fixed the tram in an attempt to escape the city, Nemesis found them, and Mikhail allowed them the chance to escape. By the end of the outbreak, Umbrella became aware that the US government was preparing to destroy the entire city, and worked feverishly to save any assets they could. Another UBCS team led by a man named Klaus were ordered to collect a mutated T-virus strain from an Umbrella researcher named Dr. Cameron. Dr. Cameron was infected by the virus in an attempt to cure herself, but while curing herself, she accidentally caused a mutation that gave her the ability to implant herself inside other organisms. Her memories and personality would completely take over, even in animals. The UBCS team found her, and Dr. Cameron made it her goal to kill them to prevent Umbrella from obtaining the research data. She destroyed most of the team with the exception of Klaus and the team's monitor Roger, but Roger unknowingly was infected with her cells and used his body to escape the city. Dr. Cameron's current whereabouts are completely unknown.
私にとっては新鮮な実験材料。私は人間に戻る研究を続ける。このデータを渡さない。
And the details of her story are for another time. And that is the overall story of the UBCS and its role within Raccoon City. On October 1st, 1998, the city met its final fate when the US military made the decision to eradicate it. The UBCS was mostly decimated, and the few soldiers that may have remained in the city alive were left to die, alongside the citizens they believed they were rescuing.
And now we have a rather unfortunate turn of events. It seems that the President and the Federal Council have passed judgment over the civilians of Raccoon City. The President and Federal Council have ruled that the Backless Terminate operation is the best course of action for this extreme situation, and have since executed. Based on that fact, Raccoon City has been literally wiped off the map. Current reports have the death toll surpassing the 100,000 mark. Our hearts go out to those poor civilians of Raccoon City.
Since you made it to the end of this video, I assume you enjoyed it, so why don't you go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss any new content. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, links in the description below, and if you'd like to support the channel, you can join my Patreon or become a channel member. This is Fabian, I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.